Hi everyone. Thank you all for joining this call today. Even and I are super excited to have such wonderful guests today. Minka, Lorenzo, and Matthias. Thank you for your time. And if you could guys present yourselves, it would be also nice. Should we start with maybe Lorenzo? You were the first one who joined.
Sure, I'll give you a quick intro. Thank you, everybody. Glad to be here. I'm Lorenzo, originally from Italy. Lived in Spain for a bunch of years. We were just discussing with Malika. And then I'm now based out of Miami, and I'm a partner in Rocker, which is a Miami-based venture builder. We've been building startups, tech-based startups for over a decade at this point. We major focus in the US, Latin America, and partially Europe. After building literally dozens of startups, we also started an educational offering. So either we build the startups for you or we teach you how to build your own startup. And then a couple of years ago, we also launched our accelerator offering, which is kind of like a hybrid in the sense that it goes way beyond education because we literally sit down with you for 3 months and help you build your startup. But of course, it's not like venture building because it's not our startup when we don't start it from scratch and we don't create the team. But we'd rather, select the best teams that we can find globally for those specific programs. So this is my experience in venture building. Specifically, I've been full-time in Web3 for the past 2 years. All of these accelerator programs that I've been running with Rocket and with other organizations have been focused on Web3. Different angles. Sometimes they were focused on specific ecosystem and blockchains. In other cases, were focused on specific regions, for example. So different angles, different flowers, if you want. But this is kind of like the experience that I bring to the table today.
Thank you so much, Lorenzo. Yeah, for the introduction. Who's next? Minka.
Hi, I've been in tech all my career and I've always loved whatever's coming on the cutting edge. So I've been interested in blockchain since about 2011 and Web3 lately, AI, pre-2020, I was working for an AI company called Zeta Global, which is provides marketing insights. And of course, I've become interested in generative AI as it's come out. So at the moment I'm working I've also co-founded a couple of startups and I have been working for a Web3 startup, which is Lumashare. They're creating a green alternative energy marketplace in Web3. I've actually narrowed that down from being head of their global ambassadors to more of a consulting strategy role because I'm actually ready for the next challenge. And that's basically it in very few words.
Yeah, thank you. And where are you based? Where are you calling from now?
Oh, of course. Yeah, at the moment I'm in Texas. I'm also based out of California and Lima, Peru.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. And Matthias, could you please present yourself?
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I come from a totally different background. I come from fashion design and did that quite some time, from design to private label to retail. There I learned actually to, work with components all over the world and put them together into a functional product. And I made also different things like at restaurants and bars and this stuff. So I come more from a lifestyle perspective. I sold my company a couple of years ago and went into technology because I was always very tech affine. I made product data management, cloud-based program for the fashion industry. We started it already in 2000. And then I went into music technology, copyright protection, radio monitoring. We had 2 patents worldwide. And it was a logic step into blockchain a couple of years ago. Was focused first on asset tokenization, developed with Consensus, gold-backed stablecoin. Was the first platform that they developed with me in their Codify concept. That's a tokenization platform. Then I went into consulting different kind of projects, from wallets to regulatory framework for trading platforms, companies that make CFDs and wanted to go into crypto. So it's actually a little bit a thing. I went in deep down the rabbit hole and learned a lot. And then I went into NFTs because this was the most logic thing with my background. Made a combination of educational and finance concept called House of Stocks. Was then a bit late, to be honest, because the market went down mid 22. And I'm head of NFT with the European Blockchain Association. But basically, I made a lot of startups, businesses, and advised still a couple of companies, a fashion game, a fashion exchange it's called. We just launched an application in Bali for what's going on in Bali. I'm in asset tokenization. So it's actually, I'm more on the creating businesses and projects, but mostly in the lifestyle area.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. Very interesting. And what's about you? Where are you based?
I'm based in Cyprus, and now, of course, we build also some villas in Bali, also in Bali, going forward, backwards in the moment.
Okay, nice. So yeah, that's awesome. Such a great company, and all of you are guys experienced founders, and it's aligned with today's topic, right? How to create a startup from idea to validation. And yeah, let's try to discuss to make the conversation flow. And let's start like from the very beginning. How to define the initial startup ideas, and how crucial it is to identify a unique value proposition from the outset.
Look, I think there are many ways to get into building a startup. You know, it could be a problem that you feel. It could be a report that you read with some data saying, hey, there is a market opportunity. It can be like different, starting points. But the most important thing is that no matter how you get started, you then take that insight and put it away, and you really understand the business opportunity. Meaning, I clearly you want to be a passionate entrepreneur, right? Because building a company is going to be hard, so you need to be in love with what you're doing, right? But I think that from day one, it's really important to also develop like your rational side, so that you are also able to analyze the feasibility and the potential of your idea and your feelings, if you want. And so, especially in Web3, I see a lot of people that, for example, the typical profile in Web3 is a technical profile, and they really get excited when they discover a new way of doing something, right? And it's super cool, but that doesn't mean necessarily that there is a business opportunity behind that. So as a starting point, where do you get the idea from? It's fine if you get it from, like a piece of code that you just wrote, or last night you went to a restaurant and the fish was not good, so you came up with this idea of making fish better. It's perfect, right? The problem is not that. The problem is, what do you do next? And my suggestion is, hold on, take a step back, look at this idea or at this asset, this insight as a business opportunity, and validate that. So make sure that there is a real problem behind this insight. And the problem needs to be big, right? It needs to affect a lot of people so that the opportunity is big. If it only affects you, not enough. If there is no problem and it's just like something cute that you just build, not enough, right? So the most important, and I know it sounds a little bit cliche, put the problem first and then the solution, but in my experience, it's the only way to make sure that you're, investing your effort into something that really makes sense, right? Now, if you identify a good problem, at that point, you can see the value proposition, because if there is a problem, then you might be able to find out, the transformative opportunity. Hey, this is very expensive. Let me make it cheaper. This takes a lot of time. Let me make it faster. People are really sad about it. Let me make them happier, right? So once you identify the problem, then you can focus on the solution, the value proposition, the transformative component of your solution. How are you impacting people? But if the problem is not real, or if it's not big enough, everything else is a cute exercise, but it's not gonna end up being a business, right? So make sure that you focus on real problem. The reason why I'm saying this, I'm emphasizing this so much, is because since this is somehow, a Web3 related forum, Web3 is famous for being like an industry in which there are a lot of solutions looking for a problem. There are a lot of builders, but there are not a lot of real problems. I think that it's changing now. The industry is maturing, but historically, you see a lot of pitch decks with a lot of like crazy, super cool solution, the smartest of the smart contracts. But in reality, those toys are not going to become products, and those products are not going to become businesses unless there is a real problem behind. This is why I'm so, obsessed with the problem. But I'm gonna pause, and I'm gonna let the other speakers also add something.
Yeah, thank you so much. And but today, everything is solved almost, and it's such a difficult thing, a challenge to find a problem to solve. Right? Anything to add, Minka?
Yeah, it's absolutely, because the main thing is to find the problem. It's what pain points do people or corporations have within a given idea? Talk to people, read, figure out your market gap, figure out your problem that you're going to solve. And that goes, some ideas of how you're going to solve it are good, but at the same time, you want to make sure that you're actually addressing needs, inefficiencies, something that people actually want. Because as Lorenzo said, you can have all the wonderful, magical ideas in the world, but if they don't have a true business solution attached, then they're just play. Fun play, but play. So do validate the need. I mean, research your market, target market. Find out, talk to people, talk to potential customers, talk to industry experts, and make sure that you actually have a viable product before you go any further, that it actually has need, before you do your business plan, before you attach a financial value to it. You have to define your value proposition not only to other people, but to yourself. What makes it unique and valuable to your target audience?
Totally. Yeah, thank you. And Matthias, are you agree?
Yeah, I think we had a very typical, the inspiration part, very Italian, and then the more American approach in the answer. I always try to put the things on a more abstract level, because we said also from an idea to a product. And I wouldn't boil down Web3 only to technology, because I've been involved in a lot of art and fashion and lifestyle related projects where the technology is kind of just a tool and not really the core. I totally agree that it's a very technology and developer driven environment, and that is a very big problem because most of them do not have a product market fit, and they believe the technology is all you need, and that's their environment, that's their universe, and it doesn't actually apply to real world. And I wouldn't say only problems are the inspiration, because I come from an environment or a job where passion is actually a driver, something that you want to do something perfect. And here we don't talk only about art. It's something you want to create something beautiful, and you use, for example, now new technologies. I'm consulting a fashion game, and we talk just about the avatar. Just the avatar is a very big issue because it's designed by by graphic designers, but they don't know how to make really the passion and how to create something going further. So what I want to say with that is there are different kind of motivations, and it doesn't have to solve a problem, to be honest, all of the products. Some products just deliver a new feeling, a new thing. I wanted to say something with the avatar. I told them, they showed all these things, and I said, like, guys, why what you show me is old? Because we have now new technologies. We can, what you do, every kid can make now with Mid-Journey, right? Now we have different things. You need to go further. You need to know where's the fashion going, fashion in terms of zeitgeist. So the unique value proposition or sales proposition is for me, it's not only solving a problem, it's sometimes also catching a zeitgeist, catching what is really in the moment going on in the mind of the people. And from my background, most of the companies that were really successful, just say a company now, Gucci, they didn't want to make a massive fashion brand, but they wanted to make the perfect handbag, right? Or Louis Vuitton. So there's not a problem solving. It's a creating something. It's maybe not 100% matching then with the main Web3 environment, but I think that's also something that has a value. And that is important. More an abstract point of it, and not so much technically how you should do that and what team you need and what analyst finance you need and all that stuff.
Thank you. Yeah, for such an artistic point of view. Yeah, you wanted to add anything, Minka?
I think that the creative process is sometimes separate from the financial process.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, and it's very nice to be on the creative side. But no matter how much passion you have and no matter how much intensity you have towards something, you still have to make sure that somebody wants to buy it.
This is true. Just to now we can maybe have a little bit of loose discussion. Would be nice to answer this. It's not only finance. We have always the product, we have the finance, we have administration, and we have the marketing, right, and sales. These are, for my opinion, the components. If they are not synchronized and you don't have a top management, if you can do that as a one-man show or as a company with hundreds of employees, it doesn't matter. Of course, with startups, you don't have that usually. That you have immediately such a big thing and the difference than the scaling it. I totally agree with you that there are several components that need to fit. And that's the biggest challenge, I think. Only money doesn't bring you further. Only the product doesn't bring you further. Only the marketing doesn't bring you further. Or only management doesn't bring you further. This is the components that need to fit. Some have more value on the one and less on the other. That's also okay. But if there's a balance, at least then it works. And of course, then, as we say always, the team must be okay. But these are the elements that, from my opinion, are most important. And only in a combination it works.
Thank you.
And by the way, can I add something, Matthias? So don't you think that this approach of putting money up front sometimes can create like a harmful environment for the crypto-related projects, because there are lots of scam projects out there. So when they raise for money, they are creating this like bad competition here. And I don't know, this money-driven race is actually a bad thing for crypto to come.
Well, I think that we have in every single industry good and bad players, right?
Especially with the crypto like funding nature, because sometimes it's quite easy to attract money there. It's a different process that works from traditional world to crypto world. So explain to me like a layman, okay?
No, I agree, but I didn't finish my point. Just the technology, the blockchain and the decentralization made it so easy for people, and also the that you're anonymous. You know, you create an avatar and raised money. Yeah, this, of course, created a lot of opportunities. There is actually a pattern how you calculate the risk and your motivation to commit a crime, which is how likely it will be that you're gonna be caught. Let's talk with a professor for criminology in Switzerland, and the blockchain and the whole concept of decentralization and being, behind. Generally started with the internet is, of course, a playground for that, and I think that made it much more easy. And yes, the more you have this possibility, the more scams and rug pulls we will have. But I don't think this is a problem of the internet, it's a problem of the blockchain, it's a problem of the people, because, it only gives you an opportunity. If you don't have values, you will use it. If you have values, you don't do it. But that's the whole game. And I, of course, I dislike that people are going into the Web3 and say, oh, there's so many of this scams and stuff. They're maybe easier disclosed because it's also a very open ledger, right? You immediately know that everybody is looking at it. It's the people behind, it's the players. It's not really the technology that it enables it, but it's I don't know. I'm critical with this. I'm looking more at the players and less at the technology. And if people give you a lot of money up front because they now invest before in NFTs and then in whatever, now in AI, and people that are not experienced are getting millions funding, it's a risk. But if you throw somebody anyway millions in a startup, most probably they will also burn it. We had this in many other businesses also. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, in a way. By the way, yeah, Minka wanted to say something.
No, go ahead. I do.
No, just, yeah, this is definitely a debatable topic. So obviously, like, of course, crypto scene is super anonymous, but of course, people are behind that, and every decision is always up to a human's decision. So this is it. But obviously, crypto scene is very different from traditional world. That's all I'm saying. And maybe it's not that, this division is still pretty visible here. So this is why I'm concerned here. So this money race is, I think, way heavier, and people sometimes going super fresh into the crypto world, crypto scene, not thinking about the aftermath, the future. So they are here to make money, make buck right now. So that's what I'm concerned with, especially with startups, like masking goodwill when there's obviously a crypto, like a money race, like as the core idea.
I think it's volume that gives us concern without realizing it, because you think back before the internet, people would have to go to the library, read magazines, read books, read newspapers, blah, blah, blah. And they didn't have the reach to other people that we have now. Then early internet, okay, anything early is sort of struggles along like a toddler. And then now we have access to everyone who is online. We have competing influencers, we have constant sound bites, we have a lot of journalism that's very not exactly reporting. So we have so many social networks to play around in. And so there are so many more people doing this. And so there are so many more who have the percentage chance of being scammers. So, and they're going to make the press. So we're going to hear about it. And there are so many more who have the chance to be sincere and actually build a product. There are so many who will try and fail. There are so many who will win. But the thing is, it's a volume thing. So when we look at crypto scams, I think it's not so much a problem that people are scamming more. It's just that there's more availability to do it, just as there is to build a good product. So it comes down to our observation and to our good sense of what is happening with any particular product or project, rather, to see if it's a scam or not.
Thank you. Very interesting. And Lorenzo, do you have anything to add, maybe?
Well, no, I mean, I think this is an interesting conversation. I agree with what Minka said, and it goes back a little bit to what we were saying before, right? How do you come up with an idea? And you kind of briefly mentioned, it's very hard, right, to find new value propositions. It feels like everything is already invented. And no, it's actually the opposite, because I think that now innovation is growing so much that these things are happening. And specifically because of what Minka said, right? Now we have much more access to a bunch of new things. So before, the problem is we don't have access. Okay, let's build that access. Let's democratize access to all of these things. But this brings a new wave of either problems or opportunities, because it's not necessarily problems, right? And so the more we act, the more we talk about it, the more transactions, the more connections, the more opportunities, and ideas flow faster. So I don't think that the problem is to find new ideas. The problem is, to build those ideas at the same pace as the world is evolving, right? I think that the problem with an entrepreneur, or being an entrepreneur, is not necessarily to come up with an idea. The problem is that everything moves so fast that by the time you kind of understand what to do, the world doesn't look like how it looked like when you came up with the idea, right? So that's kind of the problem. I feel that that's the real stress of the entrepreneurs. Everything is shifting. And in Web3, everything is multiplied times 10. A cycle in Web3 is 20 years in tech and 40 years in life, right? It's like dog's years, right? So, and that's, that's kind of the problem. When I run accelerators, you feel that throughout the accelerator, entrepreneurs are constantly wondering, should I go this way? Should I go that way? And it's not necessarily because they don't know what they're doing. It's because the more data they gather, the more they realize that the environment is shifting. That's why also in some cases they launch tokens that don't make any sense because of FOMO, for example, because, hey, I had to catch the wave, the market is going up. I had to launch this because otherwise it's going to be too late, because otherwise somebody else is going to do it, right? So I think that that's a real challenge for a builder. You cannot control the pace. You have to adapt to a pace that is, in many cases, really hard to handle. But again, it's not lack of opportunities. It's the opposite. There are too many opportunities. That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I've been thinking actually. So as there are super like a huge multitude of opportunities around there, so the capital is like spread around them, and sometimes it's quite easy to like miss a good solid project that really stands out to like I don't know, losing the popularity rank to like some, I don't know, meme coin project or so. So that's why I think this is the matter of attention right now. Everybody is looking for it. So crypto scene especially. So how do you address this problem of attention? Because sometimes like, I don't know, this meme coin project can really outshine the good solid ones that really are revolutionary.
I think that's a great question. And me personally, I don't want to, be the old boring dude saying, no, I don't care about all these fancy projects, the shiny lights, right? I think that there might be some good stuff in there. Even if you're just trying to speculate, it's perfectly fine. It's part of the game, But you need to kind of have two categories and say, okay, this project might be real, maybe not, maybe yes, but it's a sparkly one. Let's put it here. And these ones, maybe you need to be a little bit more proactive to find and analyze the ones that are not so bright, because maybe there is more tangible value there. I think that at the end of the day, as long as you know what you're getting into, you're good. If you know that you're getting into something that is very volatile, it depends on trends, it depends on a tweet, it depends on the moment, perfectly fine, as long as you understand that. And you don't think that this is going to be the next big thing. No, maybe this is the next big thing for the next 6 months. Right, but but those are different with respect to those projects that are building real value for real people in the real world, and those are actually the projects that I'm personally more excited about. Again, I'm open to the other ones as well, But even if everything is moving fast, if you find a real value proposition that is really bringing value to people in real life, I think that those projects have a life cycle a little bit longer, and there are potentially better investments in the mid or long term. Usually there is a team that has skills that are capable of adapting to these cycles. So what I'm saying is, you have applications that are super valuable now, and you need that specific team to build it for now. But if something happens, the product doesn't make any sense anymore. The team is not able to do anything about it because they are just the perfect thing for that specific application, for that specific situation. Versus you have other projects in which the team is a little bit more, flexible in terms of being able to adapt the changes of the environment. The product is also a little bit more capable of absorbing changes, right? So it doesn't depend on a specific trend, It has a little bit more of a so just to hyper simplify, it's like saying, this trend of banking the unbanked, for example. Yes, you can find an app that works better now because of this or because of that, but the trend is a mid to long term trend. It's not a fashion. It's not a trend. It's not something that is going to expire tomorrow. That is a part of Web3 that is focused on real problems for real people, and it's going to take years, right? So whatever product you have will have to adapt, but potentially the life cycle of that project is longer, rather than a project that is just trying to speculate on today's, Web3 cycle, for example, on the halving or this, which is perfectly fine. But those are projects that are just too much focused on the now and here, and they will have a hard time adapting when the circumstances change. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I answered the question. I probably went all over the place, but